Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. And today we talk about one of the most dangerous mages ever released into the Dominion. A hero that does not care about safe battles, balanced trades or preserving stability. No, Guardians. This hero believes in one thing. Power. More power. And then even more power. Today we talk about Xe'Sha, the Exiled Witch. And if there is one hero in Hero Wars that truly represents the philosophy of chaos, it is her. Because Xe'Sha is not built around surviving comfortably. She is not built around winning quickly. She is built around escalation. The longer the battle exists, the more dangerous she becomes. And that alone already makes her one of the most feared mages in the entire game. Because permanent scaling inside Hero Wars is always terrifying. Permanent means there is no reset. Permanent means the pressure never stops. Permanent means every second that passes, the opponent gets closer to collapse. That is Xe'Sha. And her favorite fuel is sacrifice. Among all heroes in Hero Wars, very few embrace sacrifice the way Xe'Sha does. She does not see lost health as a problem. She sees it as opportunity. Every point of suffering becomes value. Every sacrifice becomes growth. Every moment of pressure becomes another step toward overwhelming magical destruction. That sounds dangerous. Because it is. The idea of sacrificing ally health may feel uncomfortable for players that love preserving perfect formations and keeping everyone healthy. But Xe'Sha rewards that risk with something few heroes can match. Raw magical force. And not only for herself. That is what makes her so frightening. Because Xe'Sha does not collect power and keep it. She shares it. Chaos allies around her begin feeling that amplification immediately. Magic attack starts rising. Pressure starts building. And suddenly skills that were already dangerous start hitting harder than expected. That is why battles against strong Xe'Sha teams often feel strange. At first, everything looks manageable. Then suddenly, it is not. The scaling reaches critical mass. The pressure becomes impossible. And eventually brute force solves the fight. That is her philosophy. Not control. Not tricks. Power. While collecting magical strength through sacrifice, Xe'Sha creates another incredibly important layer of value. The battlefield becomes covered in crimson mist. And Guardians. This mechanic is beautiful. Because while Xe'Sha is increasing pressure, she is simultaneously reducing enemy pressure. Enemy basic attacks begin missing. That matters a lot. Because every missed attack becomes more survival. Every missed attack becomes more scaling. Every missed attack means Xe'Sha gets more time to grow stronger. And that is terrifying. Because Xe'Sha does not need huge windows. She only needs enough time. Once she reaches momentum, the battle changes. And then, the moment arrives. The concentrated crimson energy. Her ultimate. And Guardians. This skill still feels spectacular. Xe'Sha fires concentrated magical destruction directly toward the enemy, with the lowest magic defense. That detail changes everything. Because she is not forced into attacking whoever stands in front. She identifies weakness. She finds vulnerability. And she attacks exactly where the damage becomes most efficient. That means fragile mages. Backline threats. Poorly protected heroes. They all become targets. And once Xe'Sha reaches proper scaling, those moments become devastating. Her ultimate feels like a judgment. Not because it always ends battles instantly, but because it punishes weakness. That is strategy. Now naturally, a hero like this loves allies that feed her identity. And there is one hero that immediately appears. Aidan. Guardians? This duo is ridiculous. Aidan performs sacrifice better than almost anyone. He manipulates health, creates sustain, maintains the battlefield. And while doing all of that, he feeds Xe'Sha. Xe'Sha receives more opportunities to scale, more magical growth, more pressure. And in return, she shares that magical destruction back into the team. This duo starts slowly, but if you allow them time, they become terrifying. One creates survival, the other creates inevitability. That is why chaos feels so satisfying to play. Then we move into a hero that gives something different. Electra. And Guardians. Electra may not constantly feed sacrifice, but she solves one of Xe'Sha's biggest problems: survival. Because Xe'Sha is not a hero built to absorb punishment. Her health pool is not what defines her. Electra becomes the wall. She absorbs. She blinds. She delays physical threats. She gives Xe'Sha room. And that room becomes magical destruction. This duo is less about sacrifice and more about protection creating growth. Electra buys time. Xe'Sha turns time into pressure. Simple. Beautiful. Then we arrive at two heroes that fit surprisingly well. Mushy. And Burner. Because Xe'Sha does not only increase damage, she amplifies how healing and pressure evolve during battle. Mushy loves long fights. More time means more growth, more branching, more scaling, more magical influence. And Xe'Sha naturally supports that environment. Burner brings another layer. Healing, energy, magic support, sustain. And suddenly Xe'Sha feels much more stable. Which is dangerous. Because stable Xe'Sha becomes stronger Xe'Sha. And finally, Dorian. Guardians? This one deserves attention. Because Dorian's bloody sustain and vampirism mechanics fit beautifully beside Xe'Sha. She sacrifices. She scales. She pressures. Dorian helps maintain that rhythm. And suddenly sacrifice no longer feels like punishment. It becomes investment. And that is exactly where Xe'Sha becomes terrifying. Because once sacrifice stops feeling painful, there is very little holding her back. That is why Xe'Sha remains one of the best mages in hero wars. Not because she instantly wins. Not because she is simple. But because she rewards commitment. She rewards patience. She rewards understanding. And when everything comes together, the battlefield starts feeling impossible for the opponent. So Guardians, tell me below. Which hero do you love pairing with Xe'Sha? Do you prefer classic chaos, protective structures, or explosive sacrifice compositions? Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.